I wanted to live in a tiny house specifically because I wanted to live intentionally and I wanted to create a space that was a sanctuary for me. I couldn't afford to live in my own place in a studio, so I also did it for financial reasons. I just think there's a lot of versatility with tiny houses. It really has completely changed my life. So I chose to build a tiny house because I didn't know where I wanted to live, but I had always imagined building a house. I just thought that I'd have to buy land before I could do that. And I was living at home in my parents' basement for free, and they have an acre in Colorado, and I got re-inspired by tiny houses, so I decided to take on the project. I did a ton of research. So we use different elements in this house to make it higher performing. So one of those is the continuous fresh air ventilation system. It's a heat recovery ventilation and also an interior air barrier, which helps with moisture and temperature control. I'm able to find more balance, and I've gotten a lot better because I'm living in a house that I built exactly to my needs, and I can sit in my house and I can look at all of the small projects that my dad and I did together and remember the building times, and it's just a really lovely, happy sanctuary home. Hi, I'm Isabel Nagelbryce, and I built this tiny house starting in 2015. I built it in Colorado with my dad, but I now live in Portland, Oregon. It's called the Honey House. This is Luna May, and we live here together, and we've lived in the house for just over 3 years now, and we've lived in 3 different towns in 2 different states. So this is the living space, the living room. This couch is full of storage. The back here folds open. So I have bedding in there and sleeping bag. This one does as well. I have my sleeping pad for camping back there. And then the couch actually pulls out just like this, all the way out into a guest bed. And then there's storage underneath. There's a little like trap door here to access it from that angle. And then now I'm working from home, so I just have a little desk that I store here and take out when I'm working. And this is a new addition here, the tiny wood stove. I was living in Bend, Oregon, and had lived a Colorado winter in the house before, and I had a propane heater, and it just wasn't putting off enough heat. And I also wanted a dry heat source. And so I installed this about 1.5 years ago, and it really cranks in here. I love it. It gets really hot, and it's super cozy having the fire and making dinner in the winter time. And now that I'm in Portland, it's not as cold of a climate, but it's nice on those rainy days. This here is my backup Envy heater. In this climate, it basically is enough heat for the whole house. Except for when it just gets a little bit colder, and then, I have this for whenever I want. Up here, I have a storage loft. Originally, I intended it to be for storage, but there's 2 windows up there, and when I'm in the sleeping loft, I get some nice light that comes through. And I didn't really want to be looking at storage bins. And I have so much storage in this house that it's really more than I need. I have a storage shed on the back that's 2 feet deep by the width of the house, and then the couch and the stairs. And so I just like to have my plants up there and a few things and keep it open feeling. So I like to cook a lot. I eat lots of veggies, and I wanted to have a large fridge for food storage and a lot of counter space for prep. My dad and I actually built this countertop out of reclaimed old growth Doug fir flooring, which is on the floor and on the stair treads. And so that comes in here, and then I have a 4-burner propane stove. It's just 20 inches wide, but it's really more than I need. I usually just use 2 or 3 burners tops, and the oven is great to have as well. Here I have some pantry storage, just with pull-out drawers. I have Luna May's food down here. This is a pantry up top, and then dishes in there. And then the fridge, I don't know if you want to see in the fridge, but it's quite large. I have a lot going on in there. And then just lots of drawers for storage. Under here, I have a 35-gallon water tank that I actually haven't really used much in a long time because I've been on grid, and I may take that out, but it extends through these cabinets here, and so I'd have to actually cut it in half probably to take it out. And it is taking up a significant amount of storage, so that may happen in the near future. But right now I have like trash and recycling under here, and miscellaneous items. So I chose to design this kitchen in a specific way to make the house feel really open. I think having large windows also has that effect. But I wanted my stairs, which are my wardrobe and my pantry, to be narrower, closer to the wall than the counter. And then I wanted the counter to be narrower than the fridge and the bathroom wall with the pocket door, so that it all kind of leads in but feels quite open, especially when you're cooking in here with another person or multiple people. It really doesn't feel too cramped. I really wanted to utilize the space in multiple ways. One of my favorite permaculture principles is having multiple functions. So I sit here a lot to eat, and I also have all of my clothes in here. Not super organized and beautiful, but functional. And then I have my hanging clothes and boots in here, and down at the bottom I have shoe storage, pants down here. So this is the tiny bathroom. I have a hand-painted Mexican sink and a vanity storage here. I also have a mini bathtub that's 42 inches long. It was important to me to have a bathtub because I wanted to be able to wash my dog in it in the wintertime, give her a bath, but honestly I haven't ever washed her in there because she's huge and I haven't needed to. I've taken a few baths in there, especially during quarantine. I was like really feeling like I needed a bath, and I had a really nice time, but only half your body can be in it at once. And then I also have a Nature's Head composting toilet, which I absolutely love. I think it adds a lot of like flexibility of where you can park, and they're great for so many different applications. So I've been using it for over 3 years, and I actually offer it on my website at tinygoodthing.com. And I was working tiny house shows for Nature's Head and selling the composting toilets and being a rep for them. I think it's a fantastic item. And then up here I have my Lunos Ego ventilation system, which is an integral part of the Healthy Tiny House kit, which is an assortment of green building materials that I've put together. And I'll just turn it on right now. This is going to be constantly refreshing the air in the home when the windows are closed. So either in the summer if you have your AC on, or in the winter you're trying to keep the heat in. It's very quiet, so you probably can't even hear it on its low mode. And then it also has an exhaust function. So when I'm showering, I turn that on, and it's still a lot quieter than a standard bath fan. So this is a lofted bedroom. I have a queen size bed, and I have a all natural botanical latex mattress. It's on a slat system here, and so there's actually ventilation underneath, which is really important in tiny homes because often they can struggle with moisture in the wintertime. So making sure that there's ventilation under the mattress, especially because the loft floor is like right over the kitchen and the bathroom. But definitely enough headspace for most things up here. It doesn't feel claustrophobic or cramped, and it's really nice to be able to lie in bed. And actually last night I was watching the full moon rise before I fell asleep just out the loft window. So it definitely makes you feel closer to nature. So I'm a tiny house green building consultant. I'm a sustainable homes professional, and I offer guidance throughout different styles of alternative building. So I started A Tiny Good Thing, and my website is atinygoodthing.com, where I offer that consulting and those green building materials. Another reason why I wanted to live in a tiny house was because I am super focused on having less of an environmental impact, eating mostly plant-based food and working on reducing my waste and buying secondhand, etc. And I also wanted to have less of an environmental impact by having a smaller footprint. And so I really love that I'm personally having an effect, a positive effect in that way. Thank you so much for viewing this and seeing my home. Please reach out if you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you, and take care.